I go through quite a few different belts when I'm sharpening. I like to go up. I know some guys use only 2 or 3 belts. I prefer to do just a few passes on each belt, but go through the whole belt progression. Personally, I think that I get better results. Some exceptions might be leaving off with a coarse belt and then stropping to leave a toothy edge. That could be an exception, but regardless, I normally change belts quite a bit on this work sharp. So one issue, it's not really a huge problem, but this guard here, when you're putting on so I've already kind of loosened the guard. You get this belt fitted around and it goes up and you tighten it down and you're all set. Some of these belts are fairly flexible, like this 3600 grit. So when you go to take them off, see, they kind of wrinkle up behind there. Okay, well, it made a liar out of me this time, but this does get in the way some. So looking at it, I don't think I really need all of this guard. So I have really been starting to sharpen for more and more people. And so I'm swapping belts on this quite a bit. It's not just something I do once in a while for my kitchen knives. It's something that I'm using this unit frequently now. And so I want to make it a little bit easier to use. So we're going to start. It looks like there's only 2 studs that hold this thing on. There's 2 Phillips screws down in here. We're going to back these out. Get this guard removed and take a look inside there and see what's really necessary of that guard. Is there any actual structural elements to it or anything like that? Got my 2 little screws here. Set those up here out the way. All right. So let's take a look at what we have back here. So we have our 2 support studs. It doesn't look like most of this guard has any function other than to make this whole thing prettier. You know, let's cover that stuff up and make it look more finished and prettier and keep people from getting their fingers caught in there. Well, if I make this change and I get my finger caught in there, then I guess that's on me. But I think it's worth the risk. So let's see. The part that I have the most trouble with, that gives me the most grief, is right up here. We want to make sure that we don't get into these studs, and I want to keep this scale so I know what angle I'm on. So if we go back here, it does look like there's a little support or something right here. I don't want to remove that. So if we cut most of this off, maybe come around, there's a seam here. I wonder what would be the problem if we just went underneath that seam, this mold mark, and took it off right like that. It won't say work sharp on it anymore, but I don't think that's going to hurt the functionality. Cut it all the way to here and get rid of this whole, like this whole section here. And then back here is just protection again for the wheel. So if we come down like this, we'll avoid this little guy. Come down, get right into there, and cut across. I want to avoid this. I want to keep this barrel in there. So we'll go underneath that. And then I think as long as I'm in here with the saw blade, why don't I just go ahead and come right up like that. I still have my two supports, and that'll leave me with this whole area. So my two supports and my tracking wheel protection, and leave me with that little guy to help support the scale. I think that should be enough. All it's going to really have to do is support that scale. And I'm not going to lose either one of the two screws. But it just looks like if I take that much off, it's really going to enable me to get belts on and off faster. Well, we're either going to make an improvement or wreck this plate. We're going to find out here shortly. I got to see how I want to cut this. I think I can probably cut it. I'll cut it rough with the bandsaw, and then we'll clean it up on the sander on my 2x72. All right, see you at the saw. Okay, as always, I'm going to pop my bow bulb in here, get myself a little bit more light. I don't think this is going to be too crazy critical. We'll start down here and see how this goes. All right, so far so good. Making this turn, we want to go nice and slow. Just let that blade eat. No need to force anything or make it get caught. It's a pretty slender blade, so it makes nice curves like this. But if you try to force it, bad stuff happens. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of getting excited about this. Well, I can't have it looking like that. That's terrible. So I'm going to reposition us at the 2x72 and we'll get her cleaned up. Just give me a second. Okay, I got a pretty fresh 220 grit belt, and we're going to run nice and slow and clean some of those burrs up, make this a little bit nicer so I can get some smoother transitions. I'm not going to have to sand that much, so I'm not going to make you listen to the dust collector. This won't take long. And no, I haven't run the shop vac in here yet. Might be doing that here pretty soon. That'll be a New Year's resolution. Now, I know that I could take more off. I'm going to try it like this. I want to leave, see this reinforcement here, I could take that right off. But in the interest of keeping the stiffness, I'm going to leave that on to see. I just want, if I'd make this too flimsy, it'll shake and drive me crazy. So I want to leave some of those on there, some of those thick points. But let's go to the Scotch-Brite wheel and clean these edges up just a touch more. Okay, here we are at, I have a coarse and a fine. This is the fine grade Scotch-Brite wheel. And I'm just going to use that just smooth some of this stuff out. make it a little bit better. It's just for my own satisfaction. Now, I don't think anything I do in the Scotch-Brite is going to have any real effect other than, well, removing some of the burrs may keep the belt from catching. So that's what we're going to do right now. These Scotch-Brite wheels, it's important, as with buffing wheels, to use a very light touch. Just take your time, and they do a really good job. If you try to get too aggressive, they'll melt and cause waves and and make a mess. I use these on my Kydex, and the lighter the touch, the better off you are. You notice I use the bottom of the wheel too. Anybody that's used buffing wheels and everything knows that I would never sand up here in case it catches. Normally when I'm doing knives and stuff like that, I got a heavy apron on as well. I have a leather apron for safety. So see how that smooths that up? There is where I haven't gone, and here's where I have. So there's a before picture. Using very light pressure. Just touching the belt. That belt's, this is a 3600 RPM grinder. It's moving plenty fast enough to do work without you having to put pressure in it. Make sure that support there is nice and smooth so it doesn't catch when I'm pulling belts off. Oops, sorry about that. So everything's smoothed and melted. I absolutely can get a higher finish than this if I feel like it. I just think for this it's not going to be needed to take that time. But yeah, you can go onto the buffing wheel after this and really make this thing beautiful. That's what I do for my Kydex. These wheels allow you to really melt things, and some of these sharp little corners and everything, you can just radius them real nice so that they don't catch. It's all nice and smoothed and melted. I didn't mess up anything. Awesome. Let's go and pop this thing back on and see if I've taken it far enough, and see if I have to grind any more or if we've made a big improvement. Okay, here we are back at the desk. So let's get this thing. I was almost going to try to make sure you guys are in. So now I don't have to mess with that tension anymore. It slides right over there. You see this, the studs line up nice. Oh, this is going to be great. So I can look down in the hole, see that I'm pretty well lined up. Got that one started. Nice and tight. Okay. There's the finished product. This sticks out a little bit. I've melted that. I don't think that's going to be a problem. It is nice and stiff still. Let's see with this one of these J belts here, these flimsy ones, how easy this is. Oh, it's way, way easier to put on. That's for sure. I'm going to plug this rascal in. We'll just run it here real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Keep your fingers out of here now. Okay, now for the hardest part was always getting these really flexible belts off. Now, piece of cake. Oh, that's fantastic. Simple, quick, a modification that is going to pay dividends for me for a long, long time. I still have my scale. Whew. I just saved myself so much time on every knife that I sharpen. This sharpening system has become my favorite. I have a fully set up Wicked Edge that I still use for some stuff, but this is so versatile, and with the amount of belts you can get, and I'm checking into other belts as well. This blade grinder attachment, and with all the belts and the leather belts you can get with the different compounds, it puts an amazing edge on. And now it's going to be even easier for me. Hey, thanks for watching. This is my first video of 2025. It's New Year's Day, and I'm down messing with my sharpener, and I'm loving every minute of it. So I'm looking forward to the next videos that are coming, and I'll see you guys with those. Thanks. Bye.